Treasury Department creating new rules last week which penalize companies that move their headquarters overseas for a better tax rate. Now business leaders are weighing in on the issue, including our next guest. He believes these moves abroad actually create more of an opportunity to invest in the U.S. Joining us right now is former Best Buy CEO Brad Anderson. And Brad, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program. Welcome back.
Thank you. Great to be back.
The most stunning implication to those rules last week, you saw it almost immediately when Pfizer walked away from the deal with Allergan. This was a huge deal. This is the 10th largest company in America, and they made it much more expensive and difficult for this deal to take place.
So much so that they stopped it, actually.
Yeah. So what do you think about these new rules that basically do just that and will likely put the clamp on mergers and having companies leave America?
Well, I'm not in favor of companies leaving America, but the reason that we've had the companies want to leave America is we have the highest corporate tax rates in the world. We wind up double taxing income earned in other countries by American-based companies. We put American companies at disadvantages. And both the President and the Republicans in Congress agree that our tax policies our business tax policies are causing the problem. Neither can agree on what to do about it. But the regulatory change, I think, is one of the worst solutions we could have had to this problem.
Yeah, I mean, we're the highest industrialized tax in the world, Dagan McDowell, at 35%. You can't compete when you have a tax rate abroad of 12%, like Ireland does.
Right, and you heard from the CEO of Pfizer saying we've begged Congress to do something about it, but the White House won't agree to tax reform, corporate tax reform, unless it is an overall tax hike in terms of the revenue it generates. Brad, I want to ask you in terms of the way the White House has handled businesses with the 392 regulations deemed major that have been issued by President Obama's administration in the last 7 years, would you want to be running a company at this point, given the headaches, given the regulations, given the attitude in Washington?
Yeah, I still would. Because actually the President yesterday said that the country is in the strongest position of any country in the world. And I agree with him. I mean, there's all sorts of strengths we have. It's part of the reason our economy is growing a little faster than most other developed economies. We've really got a lot of structural strengths. I think what we're doing by all of that regulatory climate, though, is diminishing our competitive strength and certainly diminishing our rate of growth. So, yeah, I still would find that this is still a great opportunity, a great place to run a company. But it could be so much better, and we could be growing so much faster. And if you just look at the practical implications of most of those regulations, they get in the way, particularly of small and developing businesses' growth. And that's what those of us at Job Creators Alliance are talking about, trying to get that changed.
This is government at its worst. I mean, meddling where they shouldn't be, in the private sector and in business. Because basically, they don't know anything about it. Let's be honest. Most of them are lawyers. Not that I have anything against, well, I may. But frankly, none of them have had to make a payroll. They don't understand the supply chain. Yeah. And the regulators that are making these regulations have no idea the effect it has.
One of the most fascinating things.
And there will be effects.
Yeah, there will be effects, and it's going to hamper, it's going to stifle investment. And
because if you have to pay much more in terms of regulatory fees, you're not going to invest in your business. You're not going to hire new people.
Well, and here's the important thing. Why was Pfizer and Allergan trying to get together and move over there? Because Pfizer has $25 billion of cash overseas that they want to put to work here in the United States. That was the whole basis of why they were trying to move ashore, so they could bring the money back home. And so instead of enabling Pfizer to bring the money back home and put it to work here in the United States, they actually stifled it. So, Brett, here's the question to you. Our CEOs who control the S&P 500 companies, are they going to just hold back and wait through this election cycle and not put new money to work in capital investment?
They have been doing just that.
Yeah, they are, and in particular, one of the things the Economist covered this a couple of weeks ago is that regulatory environment actually entrenches, diminishes competitive activity and entrenches existing behavior from corporations. It discourages investment and it discourages competition from coming on and challenging larger companies, both of which are bad for growth for the economy.
So do
And
you...
I strongly agree with you that you're right also about that those folks in government are not interested in the sort of practical ramifications of the regulation on decision making.
Yeah. All right, Brad. Great insights from you as always. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Brad Anderson joining us, former CEO at Best Buy. Straight ahead.